All right, everyone. The last kind of major topic I want to talk about is how to. So we've added like hands before, or virtual hands to the Raycaster, or if you want to do like an indirect, or sorry, a direct interactor. But they always felt very stiff. They kind of felt like plastic toys, or kind of like a sculpture or something. But what we want to do is to be able to kind of animate them so that like when you hit like say the trigger, you can have like a gripping action or something like that. So the next two exercises, I'm gonna not lie to you. This is more complicated. This is probably one of the more complicated things. We're going to do kind of the easy way, and then we're going to do the little bit more of a tricky way. Okay. And you can kind of decide if you, when you do your own projects, if you want to do the tricky way. So, to get something to work, you're gonna have to, if you'd have to have a model, and you'd have to add something called a skeleton or an armature. And I'm going to do another video where we talk about that, and then you can animate that in Unity. We are just going to start with a pre-built package. Okay, so if you download this package, and I've already installed it for you, but if you want to do this for another project, what you would do is you would go to assets, import package, custom package. You could bring that in, and essentially it would give you this folder called Oculus Hands. Okay. And inside of the folder are some models. It also has some animations. It has the material that they use, which is basically just a basic white material. And they have these prefabs. Okay. And we're going to use these prefabs. They look like this. Okay. It's just like a hand. Okay. If you really want to, these are just, if you go to the models, you could bring this into like, Blender if you really wanted to look at it and all that kind of stuff. What I'm going to do here, so this is exercise 10. And I have a rig. I'm just going to move that. All right, here's my rig, and it has two controllers that I've already set up, just the way we normally would with like a Ray interactor. So it has the track pose driver to get the position and the rotation. And I also have a Ray interactor. And the other important thing here is that for UI interaction, I did set up the select value, just so you can do that. So what I'm going to do is the easiest way to do this is really just, I'm going to take this. This is my right hand. I'm going to take this right hand prefab and just drag it to the Ray interactor, the right Ray interactor. And essentially that makes it a child of that. Okay. And if you come in here, you can see it. Now, if you don't, if this is, if you get something like this, or maybe it's like a little bit off like that, but oops, not the Ray interactor, but the model. Like you might get a model that's kind of like that. Well, I recommend taking the position and do it to 0, 0, 0. That should lock it to the exact same location as the Ray interactor. And so that way the Ray will come out of the hand. Okay. The size of this one is fine. If you were, finding another one online, you may want to resize it bigger or smaller just by using this. Resizing it won't change anything about the animation. So what's essentially happening here is there's something called, you remember when we did animation, we had something called a controller, and the controller set up sort of what would trigger various animations. So if I come into the animation, there's the right hand animator, which is the controller, and it's actually going to this thing called a blend tree. And if I click on it, these are the various animations that my model can do. Um, excuse me. You see how it says fist and it says pinch? So like here, if I take the model, I don't know if I can do that one. Yeah. Uh, what's actually going to happen is see how the model is kind of animating there between various poses. Okay. Now we're not going to change anything here, but in the next couple of videos, I'm going to show you how we're going to build our own, and we are going to have to kind of set up this animator a little bit. Okay. But for now, we don't have to do anything too complicated. I just wanted to kind of show you what's happening here. So we have this model. It has animations on it. It has an animator, I should say. Now, the other thing we need to do is we need to set up the animations to the controller itself. In other words, what I mean by that is like I want to set up that grip animation that you saw there to say, for instance, like the trigger. Okay. Now, how do we do that? Well, I have a little script for you. And what I'm going to do, it's under scripts and it's called hand animation. And I'm just going to drag it into here and see how it says trigger action grip action. And I'm going to set this to reference. Okay. And what I'm going to do is we are going to set this one to activate value for the right. And then this one is going to get set to the select value for the right. Okay. And then that's pretty much it. This should be now set up. If you were to save it and preview it, you could hit and it would, go between the things there. I'm just going to duplicate this for the other hand. Drag it to the other controller. I'm going to call this left hand model. All right. And then the major thing here is just make sure that your make sure that this is set up to your left hand. Make sure that the, track pose driver is set to the left hand, and then click on here. And we need this hand animation. Currently, we copied it, so it's set to the right controller. We want to set it to the left controller. So I'm going to go back here, and we are going to go activate left interaction. Left value. Okay. All right. So that, and actually, I'm going to be honest. I should have used the other prefab because it's facing the other way. I guess what I could have done is I could have, so this is set to its own animator. Once again, I'm just going to drag in the script and do what I just did. I did that so that it's facing the other way in terms of the two models there. Oops. All right. And that's it. If I were to save this, if I click on the trigger, it should do, I believe, like a little pinch. And if I click on the select, it should grip it. Okay. Now, at the moment, I'm just kind of using the default material, but I could edit these. I could take these into Blender and kind of edit the model if you really wanted to. These are the models here. I'm just gonna, if you wanted to apply materials, for instance, let's say I wanted to apply a purple material to these. You can change any, changing the visual, like the material or even some of this model isn't going to change the animation at all. It's just going to, the animation is separate from the model. Because really what's animating this is something called an armature, which we're not going to play around with. But, that's kind of what we're doing here. So I would try this out, save it, preview it, and you should be able to, when you hit your triggers, have animated hands, which is really cool. All right. All right, everyone. This is exercise 10, and these are the pre-built, hands here from that we got from Unity, and we added in the script and we set them up so they should both have a grip like that, and they should both have like a pinch. Okay, so the grip is set to the select, and this is set to the other the trigger button, I think is the official term for it. All right, so you can see how we can play around with these. This is just kind of, makes it feel a little more lifelike, right? To have this actual action. It looks more like real hands. We can change the color of these if you want. Right now I'm just using the default, but in the next I'll do a quick video where they're in a different color. And in the next video, I will show you guys how you can find your own model and animate it to do something kind of like this. So you can write your own, or, animate your own actions if you want to. But this is just to make it a little bit easier. Not everyone has as much animation experience with 3D. Okay. All right, I just wanted to show you that I applied a different material to it. Defaultly, your material is kind of like a whitish gray. Here I've applied purple. So you can apply whatever material you want. You could even, take these into Blender and make some slight changes to the model if you want to. I just kind of wanted to show you how you can customize these a little bit. You're not just stuck with the default. Okay.